Hi folks, Richard Pallaziol here with Weapons of Choice, and today I want to talk about something that I wasn't going to, but I saw in passing some videos on YouTube describing the shove or the push, and I really don't like the way that some of these things were discussed. All well-intentioned, and certainly it's much better than actually just pushing another actor on stage, but there are certain things that can lead to trouble, and it's not only to do with technique, but also with mindset. So getting right to it, the push seemingly isn't something that's going to do a lot of damage, but it can. In stage combat, for those of you who already know me, you know that I have a simple rule that the victim always stays in control. And when we approach the simulation, let's say I'm going to push my partner here, this is Skip, by the way, my stage combat inadequate partner, and if I'm going to push Skip, I'm not going to call him B and I'm A or whatever. He's the victim. At that point, no matter if he's the good guy or the bad guy, I am the aggressor, he is the victim. And the victim always stays in control of anything we do. In stage combat, we never push, we never pull, we never lift, we never punch, we never kick. We never actually take control over someone else's body. From beginning to end, it has to be on the victim to actually do the movement. So for here, a simple simulation of a push. We start with the setup, and the setup is that I place my hands wherever the push is going to go. From here, arbitrarily, I'm picking the area just below the shoulders, on the chest area. I'm lightly touching. I'm not going to stand square off to my partner. In case my partner has to move the head, we don't want to knock heads, so I'm going to be just slightly off stage. So actually I'm looking over his shoulder, not directly into his face. So on the setup, we make a little eye contact just to make sure that we're both on the same page and we're both ready to go. I lightly make contact, and now I'm done. I don't do a push. As the aggressor, everything else that happens is based on what the victim chooses to do. Now I've seen some videos, again, nicely intentioned, well-meaning young lady saying that from here, what the aggressor should do is slide the hands off the shoulders. But notice that even Skip here reacted to it. And I'm not putting much pressure on it, but if Skip isn't ready, or if Skip is already starting to move back a little bit, this tiny amount of little sliding off of the hands might be enough to make him trip. And I've seen it happen on stage, where this person was already anticipating the shove, and this little extra push, it actually pushed the actor into the orchestra pit. So I'm not going to push in any way. I'm not even going to glide off of the shoulders. The setup, place my hands, we make a little eye contact just to make sure that we're ready to go. And now we're done with the setup. At this point, we haven't committed to an illusion of a push yet. So if the victim decides that he or she doesn't want to go through with the push for some reason, who knows what it is, Skip can just back away from this. For tonight's performance, we just don't do the push for whatever reason. We'll figure it out later backstage what it is that the victim saw, that the victim chose it wasn't safe to do the push that night. Always respect the victim's choice. I'm not going to insist on the push if the victim doesn't go along with it. So the setup is that one moment to make eye contact. It's a little quick okay. From here, we're ready to do the picture. And the picture is going to be what we want the audience to believe. I'll start the picture as the aggressor only when the victim cues me. And the cue that I'll get is a little movement in opposition. On any of these force moves, the victim is going to give me 1/100th of the amount of force that we're going to simulate in the opposite direction. Skip's going to push very slightly into my hands. So I don't press into the victim slightly presses into me. It should be almost imperceptible to the audience, but I should feel it, and that's my cue to give a picture of what I want the audience to believe. I bend at the elbows, I plant more firmly into the ground, and I'm ready for the action. The action is completely up to the victim. Again, as the aggressor, I do nothing. The victim, when he or she is ready, is going to move backwards and begin the simulation. I'm going to go along with that action by following, by pantomiming, just along with my partner, but not pushing against my partner. As I feel my partner recede, I'll give that look of moving my partner away. Then finally, the reaction. And of course that means that my partner will move as far back as we have agreed that this amount of energy would move my partner. And I will point to where my partner has to end up. Not directly point, but give the indication. If my partner has to fall down, then I'll help a little bit by, after the action, I'll let my hands drift down to point to the area, to indicate the area where my energy went that was transferred to my partner that moved him down to the ground. But first and foremost, the victim has remained in control of the action from beginning to end. Let's flip this. Now my partner is going to push me. So my part of this is set up. I just give an okay look on my face to my partner, make eye contact, let him or her know that it's okay to continue. So the setup just requires me to accept that. The picture, the slight movement in opposition, the nearly imperceptible press into the hands. And now the action, the movement going through my chest, which would have my arms go forward as I react back and out of the way. If I want to really make this look good, I'll have the actors work at a distance, without contact. I'll have them be this far apart. Setup, picture, action, reaction. I'm slightly moving back because obviously my victim hasn't stepped back, but normally I would go along with the action according to what my partner gives me. If I can convince 2 or 3 people who are standing outside of the direct line of sight that I've actually pushed the victim, now we have a simulation which is safe and effective to the audience. So I'm fine with doing all of these rehearsals. Setup, picture, action, reaction at a distance. Again, stage combat is partnered pantomime. I'm going to be putting up more of these posts on stage combat things that can really prevent a lot of injuries. And we want to keep that idea of the victim staying in control and a few other things that I think you'll find interesting and beneficial. So please like this. I'd appreciate that if you just hit the like button and also spread the word. And until the next video, stay safe, play safe.